Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture, Alpha Flight Monday, as I continue my weekly readings from Alpha Flight's first 52 issues. We are now up to issue number 26 from September of 1985. We're just a few issues away from the end of John Byrne's run on Alpha Flight, which was his creation. And our story today, Defeated. So we see here in the foreground Guardian, who has mysteriously returned from the dead. We see Heather, we see Puck, we see Talisman, we see North Star, and we see members of Omega Flight who were responsible for Guardian's death. So let's jump in here, then in real life. Okay, if at first you don't succeed, okay, team, hit him with everything you've got. Nice piece of work here of Guardian. John Byrne, writer, penciler. Bob Wyacek, inks. Andy Yankees, color. Oh, I can't read who the letterer is. Parker. Because it's partly didn't print properly there. Denny O'Neill, editor. Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. Sorry, letterer. Wondering if somebody who's been doing this anyways. And then we get quite the splash page here. So Alpha Flight is locked in battle. With whom? Well, with these robots here. Alpha Flight, hey, nobody said anything about going up against them. Life is full of little surprises, chérie. This is one of them. I always love these group scenes where everybody's got to get a quote in, and it is a sort of a way to introduce the characters to people. From Box, sure, imagine if you can my utter amazement. When I woke up this morning, I had no idea I'd be punching out my fan club. From Talisman, hey, you're right, Box. They do look kind of like you, in a clunky sort of way. From Guardian, as I see it, you've got two options, boys. Surrender right now to our obviously superior force, or end your career as very expensive junk. And Puck says, you look like reasonable robots. I'd think the choice would be easy, eh? Okay, so what do we got going on here? We got a maze. Okay, we get some action scenes here as these robots basically say, yeah, well, the hell with you, we're going to fight anyways. And they take a shot at Puck, who leaps away from it. Box, gets really underneath things, tears up the ground, and your basic superhero fight scene with some nice art. There's Aurora going up against one of them that is flying. He manages to get a hold of her. And so she's got like these metallic tentacles on him. Guardian shows up. She's very happy to see him. We got Steve Garvey there having some chocolate milk with the quick rabbit. Guardian, stay back or save the threats, Ironsides. One quick blast of electromagnetic force should. And the feedback hits Aurora through the tentacles, and she starts to fall. Puck and Box notices immediately. Shaman casts a spell, creates these sort of bubbles to break her fall. Michael, Shaman, I can't breathe properly. It hurts. Sounds as if you've cracked a rib or two. Lie still now. The others can take care of these robots. Shaman, how is she? She'll be all right, but that was careless of you, Guardian. You should have considered the consequences of, all right, he's like, whatever, we'll talk about it later. So he goes off and starts fighting again. Oh, man, let's cover that up. So these robots now, boy, we are in 1985, aren't we? Because the robots take off and they form a giant robot. And don't laugh. We've already, Marvel's got a Transformers series at this point. So now this giant robot is going after them. Ultimately, we see Talisman. He's like, what can I do about this? Works up a spell of some kind. And creates, I guess, is it an illusion? Is it not an illusion? But this giant-looking creature appears. And you know how big that robot was, probably about double size of the human beings here. And shoots up at that thing, but it's not working. As he says, it's like trying to punch smoke. Okay, they're off guard, Box, you're up. Or down, to be more precise. Okay, Macro Man, time to go night-nights. So he comes down, takes his feet out from under him, swings him around, throws him in to something. Thoom. I don't know if that's the ground or something like that. And then we see this guy appear. Okay, stop. Terminate testing sequence. Terminate? But I was just starting to enjoy myself. Do what the man says, Box. We're here at his request, after all. Did you find out what you needed, Captain Mansfield? Yes, indeed, Guardian. This was exactly the kind of a trial by fire I had in mind when I contacted you and your people. The macro system has proven unstoppable against all conventional resistance, but we needed one last major test before the government would commit to full-scale production. So, all of this has been a test set up for the Canadian military, who clearly wants to bring these robots into production to defend Canada. I like the idea of the Canadian Armed Forces using these sort of transforming robots in their national defense. And so somebody arrives with a message. Special code to dispatch, sir. Seems to be for Alpha Flight. Guardian takes a look. Heather to Hubs. The fat's in the fire. Rendezvous at... I know those coordinates. Heads up, troops. Look like we don't get long to rest on our laurels this time. Heather's uncovered something non-kosher. We'll have to beg off this one, Guardian. Aurora's hurt. She needs my medical attention. And where she goes, I go. So Box and Aurora are out. You know, Roger Box has a thing for Aurora. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm forgetting. That's not Roger Box. That is Walter Lankowski, who is in the Box robot at the moment, because his Sasquatch body was destroyed. Sorry about that, folks. So Walter Lankowski is not going to leave Aurora, and that takes them out of the fight, so no problem. Heather has North Star with her. If I can still have Puck and Talisman, that should be enough. So off they go, with Puck having to ride on Guardian's back. Always kind of funny, but hey, you do what you gotta do to defend Canada. And they are brought to the West Edmonton Mall, which apparently was still rather new at that point, and was the largest mall in the world for quite a while. I saw something that said it was maybe it was the largest mall in Canada. I don't know. Anyways, it's a big mall, and it's one more example of John Byrne trying to bring real Canada into this comic, so it's not just a Canadian superhero group by name, and then everything is fictional. So they fly down, and he's looking for who's in charge, and it turns out to be this guy right here. I guess that's me, Guardian. Thank heavens you've come. I don't think the two of your people who are already here will be enough against them. Maybe you'd better give us a quick briefing, sir. Who's them, and what's the size of their force? So they believe that there are, terrorists or something involved. And this guy says, well, yeah, they're going to blow up the mall. There's no ransom demands, but they call themselves Omega Flight. Shock. Well, Omega Flight, as we know, as I mentioned looking at the cover, are who were involved in Guardian's death in the first place. So Guardian says, all right, split up. We're going to hit them all from three directions. Get in there, nail them hard. Your leader seemed upset, Puck, and not without good reason, eh? He's butted heads with Omega Flight before. In fact, they're the ones who killed him. What? So, They enter the mall from different places. Here we see sort of like this amusement area. Puck is creeping through. What's your rush, short stuff? No time to say hi to an old friend? Eh? Who? Diamond Lil. Really simple costume. I like it a lot. I like the hair, too. Well, and of course, anybody knows John Byrne had a flair for drawing women. Bring this in a little closer because I'm trying to get it to focus. And why not take a closer look at Diamond Lil kicking Puck in the face? Well, Puck's not a real big fan of that, but so boom, she comes in, kicks him. He goes, sure, I remember you, Lillian Crawley, A.A. Creepy Crawley, the best figure this side of Aurora and the biggest ego this side of North Star. Twice my height and half my brain power. And so he leaps at her, and he's caught sort of in this force field. Take a good look, Puxy. Some of us have friends in high places. Friends in, no, it can't be. Yes, it can, Puck. Yes, it can. Okay, Lil, pick up the remains and meet us at Rendezvous 1. Now we flip to Talisman, who's going to take on Flashback, who can basically like bring past selves into being. And it goes similarly, just as she's getting the upper hand, zap. And now we see who's doing it. That looks a little suspicious. Pick her up and meet me at Rendezvous 1 to Flashback. And then North Star. This I like not at all. I had thought myself free of any involvement with Alpha Flight months ago. Now I find myself once again playing this foolish game. Why, I have no interest in being a superhero. My sister Aurora enjoys it all, but I, North Star, Wild Child. So he's going to take on Wild Child, and again, similar thing. He gets knocked out, and now we see the butt of the man who's involved. That looks a lot like like Guardian. Finally, we have Heather Hudson, who's got kind of a costume going of her own. Remember, no superpowers. She's got a sidearm, though. And she, in fact, runs into Mac. Mac, you scared me out of a year's growth, but I'm glad you're here, darling. Are the others with you? Some of them. Any sign of the enemy? Not so much as a bee's sneeze. From the descriptions, I'd guess it's Diamond Lil, Flashback, and Wild Child. But it might as well be the Invisible Girl for all I've seen of him so far. How's about you? Yes, I've seen them. Well, he doesn't look evil at all in that picture. You have? Then why didn't... Wait a minute. Say that again. What, Heather? What would you like me to say? Your voice. What's happened to your voice? Why, whatever do you mean? Heather, is it different somehow? Surely it's still familiar, still a voice you recognize. Oh no. Jerry Jackson. It's his voice. I'd know it anywhere. But he's dead. Dead? Like Guardian was dead, Heather? You accept one resurrection, why not another? But no, so what is going on? Well, Guardian tears off his face, which, let's be honest, that's just never a good thing. And it is a robot. Of course, a robot can look and sound like anyone with a little rebuilding and the proper syntho skin covering. Anyone at all, if it allows me to complete my programmed instructions, the destruction of Alpha Flight. And to that end, I have already halfway succeeded. Next issue. Possibly the most terrifying tale you'll read this year. Don't dare miss Betrayal in 30 Days. So, who is that robot? Well, if you will recall from our earlier episodes, there was a robot involved with Jackson in going after Guardian. And it was called, it was taking this female appearance and going by the name Delphine Courtney. Now it's a robot, so, I guess maybe its name is still Delphine Courtney. Either way, though. In fact, that whole rather preposterous story of how Guardian was not really killed turns out to have been a lie. Guardian was killed. And Delphine Courtney has taken his identity in order to destroy Alpha Flight according to its programming. So there we go. Alpha Flight number 26. Not a really long video because it was heavy on the fight scenes, and that goes a lot faster. In 30 days, issue number 27, the penultimate issue for John Byrne's run, as we see a final conflict, perhaps? Maybe not the final conflict, between Alpha Flight and Omega Flight. So be here in a week, not 30 days. You don't have to wait 30 days. Be ahead in 1985. Pay only 52 cents a copy for a Marvel subscription. Sweet. I'll take all of them. But be here in a week for the next Alpha Flight Monday when we look at issue number 27 and see how the conflict with Omega Flight goes. So what do you think? Alpha Flight number 26. Did you dig it? I'll be honest with you. Even when I was first reading these, I didn't think Guardian was back. It felt like it was sort of a trick, sort of a ruse. How about you? Were you fooled back in the day? Did you think he was really back from the dead or not? But what do you think of these characters? What do you think of this comic? Put it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Any questions you might have, I'll be happy to answer as soon as I get a chance, and assuming I have an answer. In the meantime, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Like, subscribe, share. God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Try to have a little bit of fun. And I will hopefully see you soon in Dad's Den of Pop Culture, where we'll tackle Alpha Flight and a few other pop culture reviews. Goodbye for now.